Have you ever noticed that some people are so lucky it almost seems wrong? As if they're cheating a rule that you follow to the letter. They don't try as hard, they don't seem to suffer as much, and yet opportunities just fall into their laps. Business deals appear, invitations arrive, doors open. Meanwhile, you work longer hours, study more, fight harder, but your life remains stuck in the same landscape, as if something invisible decided your progress must be slow. It's as if there's a secret authorization that some receive and others don't. But who gives this permission? Who blocks it? What silent force moves all of this? That's the question almost no one asks, and it's exactly what I'm going to talk to you about right now. If you stay until the end, you'll understand why your financial life may have been stuck and how you can trigger a quantum leap, a change so rapid and profound that it will seem like magic. But it's just physics applied to consciousness. What you call luck, I call alignment. And alignment in this context has nothing to do with astrology in the popular sense, nor with superstitions. It has to do with the way you perceive yourself and the world. It's about how your mind creates your reality without you even realizing it. If you're constantly striving but feel like nothing is moving, there's an energetic block, or rather, an identity block. You're trying to change reality while maintaining the same internal frequency. It's like trying to tune into a radio station without turning the dial. The quantum leap in physics happens when an electron changes orbit instantly, without passing through the intermediate states. It's an abrupt change in energy level. In personal development, this concept has been adapted to explain why some people change their lives in months, weeks, or even days, while others spend decades without moving forward. The key is to understand that your energy level, in practice, is the combination of what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. If these three elements are not aligned with what you want, you don't leap. You just wear yourself out. I know you might be thinking, but I think positively, I visualize, I do affirmations. Why hasn't it worked out yet? The answer is simple, because thinking positively is not the same as aligning energetically. There's a huge difference between telling yourself you're rich and truly feeling rich. The quantum leap requires coherence. This means that what you think, what you feel, and what you do need to tell the same story. If your mind says, I am prosperous, but your body feels fear and your actions reveal scarcity, the universe responds to what is coherent, and the coherence in this case is of poverty. Imagine your life is like a movie, and you're the protagonist. If your character's script is always about fighting and losing, even if you change the scenery, keep trying new businesses or take courses, the essence of the story doesn't change. The quantum leap is when you change the character's script so profoundly that suddenly they cease to be the unlucky fighter and become the fortunate creator. And this can happen quickly, as long as you make the change at the right level. The problem is that most people try to change at the level of action. They work more hours, start more projects, cut expenses, increase their efforts. But without realizing it, they continue to act from the identity of someone who needs to chase after things. That's why, even with all the effort, reality seems like a repetitive cycle. And here is the first truth that can set you free. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And before you think this is just a nice phrase, understand that this is the basis of the quantum leap. When you see yourself as someone limited, even subconsciously, your mind filters out opportunities that don't match that image. They might even appear right in front of you, but you don't perceive them as possible, you don't feel worthy, or you don't even consider that they are for you. This is why changing how you see yourself is much more important than learning new techniques or seeking new contacts. The financial breakthrough is not about doing more. It's about becoming someone for whom wealth is natural. And how do you do this in practice? It starts with what I call the collapse of the old observer. In the quantum world, the observer is the one who, by looking, defines the state of the particle. In your personal world, the observer is your current identity, which decides what is possible and what is not. If you keep looking at your life through the lens of poor me, unlucky me, or limited me, the universe can only show you versions compatible with that. So, the first step to the quantum leap is to stop confirming your old identity. This means stopping the repetition of internal phrases like I can't save money or nothing ever works out for me. The second step is to create a new identity and sustain it emotionally before it manifests physically. This is where most people go wrong. It's not enough to say I am rich and wait. You need to live on the inside, as if you were already in this new reality. This involves imagining in rich detail what it would be like to wake up already having financial security. What would it be like to pay a bill without it feeling heavy? What would it be like to choose where to eat without looking at the price? What would it be like to help someone without worrying if you'll have enough for yourself? These emotional details create a different internal frequency, and over time your mind starts to act as if this is normal. The third step is to align actions with the new identity. This doesn't mean spending irresponsibly to look rich. It means acting with confidence, making choices that a prosperous you would make, and stopping the investment of energy in things that reinforce scarcity. It's like you're rehearsing a role, but the rehearsal is so profound that by the time you realize it, you've already become the character. The quantum leap for a financial breakthrough is not a trick or magic. It's an internal repositioning so profound that the external world has no choice but to respond. Some people call this a miracle. Others call it a coincidence. But at the quantum level, it's just vibrational coherence. And when you understand this, you stop seeing others as lucky and start seeing yourself as capable of creating your own luck. Now I want you to reflect. What would change in your life if, starting today, you stopped acting like someone who needs to chase after things and started acting like someone who has already arrived? What decisions would be different? What conversations would you have or stop having? Who would you stop pleasing? What opportunities would you start saying yes to? These answers are your map to the quantum leap. And here's an exercise for you to start today. Before you go to sleep, close your eyes and imagine that you wake up tomorrow with all your financial issues resolved. Don't think about how it happened. Just feel what it would be like to live that day. Imagine your first actions, your first conversations, the way you dress, the way you walk. Hold that feeling until you fall asleep. By repeating this for several days, you are programming your mind to act from this new reality. And in the quantum world, where energy precedes matter, this is like planting the seed of your new life. When you do this, you'll notice something curious. Opportunities start to appear where you saw nothing before. New ideas arrive, people show up, and most importantly, you feel capable of saying yes, because now the observer has changed. And when the observer changes, reality has no choice but to change too. What if I told you that at this very moment, there is a version of you that already lives the exact financial life you've always wanted? This isn't poetry, it's not a fairy tale, it's quantum physics applied to consciousness. The concept is called parallel realities. Within the field of infinite possibilities, there are countless versions of you. Some are identical to the life you have today, others are completely different. The quantum leap is the act of stepping out of the timeline you are on and into a timeline where your reality is much more prosperous. The big question is, how do you access that version? The most common mistake is trying to get there the hard way, changing the external world to then change the internal one. It's like wanting the mirror to smile before you do, but the mirror is just a reflection. The external reality is too. And that's where you need to understand the mechanism of the quantum leap. It begins inside, and only then manifests outside. I'll tell you a story to illustrate this. There was a man named Raphael. He worked for years in a building supply store. He earned little but was known as an honest and hard-working employee. However, he was always complaining, "If I had capital, I'd open my own business. But nobody helps me. Nobody gives me an opportunity." One day, Raphael attended a lecture on the quantum leap. He understood something simple. As long as he waited for the world to give him permission, he would remain stuck. So he did a mental exercise. Every night, before sleeping, he imagined he already owned his store. He saw himself talking to customers, organizing stock, hiring employees. It seemed silly at first, but he persisted. 3 months later, a long-time customer from the store offered him a partnership in a new business. Raphael accepted. In less than a year, he was earning more than in the previous 10 years combined. The opportunity had always been there, but Raphael couldn't see it. The quantum leap didn't create the opportunity out of thin air. It just tuned Raphael into the version of himself that was already ready to receive it. Perhaps you're thinking this was a coincidence, but coincidence is just the name we give to connections we don't yet understand. At the quantum level, every thought, every emotion is a signal sent to the field of possibilities. If the signal is of scarcity, you only find scarcity. If the signal is of abundance, doors open. Now I want you to ask yourself, How many times in the last month have you talked about a lack of money? How many times have you mentally repeated that things are difficult? How many times have you looked at something you wanted and thought, I can't afford it? Each of these phrases is a reinforcement of the scarcity identity, and each reinforcement keeps you stuck on the same timeline. Here's an invitation. For 1 week, forbid yourself from talking or thinking about lack. Whenever that thought arises, replace it with a question. If I were already prosperous, how would I act right now? This question is powerful because it forces your mind to seek a new perspective. Maybe the answer is simple, like accepting an invitation, calling someone, or even just resting to clear your head. But every small action taken from the prosperous identity is a step in the direction of the quantum leap. And since we're talking about steps, I want you right now to click the subscribe button here on the channel. Not just because it helps me, but because by subscribing, you are reinforcing to yourself that you are committed to this new version. It's a symbolic gesture. You are choosing to connect with content that raises your frequency. So, pause for a second, subscribe, and let's continue. There's something called the vibrational gap, the distance between who you are today and who you want to be. The larger this gap, the harder the leap, because your emotions and thoughts have to cross a huge space. But there's a trick to reduce this gap: micro leaps. Instead of trying to go from I'm broke to I'm a millionaire in 1 week, you create small intermediate realities that are believable to your mind. For example, if you have $1,000 saved today, the next identity could be someone who always has $5,000 in their account. This is more tangible. When you reach that state, you create the next identity. Each micro-leap reinforces to your mind that you are capable of expanding. This is also important to avoid the internal self-saboteur. Many people attempt leaps that are too big, and the mind, not believing it, starts to boycott the effort. It's like trying to run a marathon without training. You not only fail, but you also get hurt. That's why micro-leaps are smarter and more sustainable. A point that almost no one talks about is the timing of the quantum leap. In physics, the leap is instantaneous. In practical life, it might seem gradual, but internally the change is abrupt. The day you decide definitively to change your identity, the energy has already shifted. What happens afterward is just matter reorganizing itself to reflect the new frequency. Think about this. Reality isn't as solid and fixed as it seems. Everything is energy, and energy responds to coherence. If you say you want to prosper, but live surrounded by objects that reinforce scarcity, the message gets muddled. This applies to your home, your clothes, the way you treat yourself. Small physical changes can help the mind accept the new identity. Organizing your space, replacing something old with something new, even changing your phone's wallpaper to an image that represents prosperity, all of this is symbolic communication with your subconscious mind. And speaking of communication, if this content is making sense to you, leave a comment saying, I choose to leap. This isn't just for me to know you're engaged, but for you to publicly register this commitment. It's a simple act that reinforces the internal decision. Now let's talk about something that bothers a lot of people: fear. When you start to change, you inevitably feel fear. Fear of losing what you have, fear of not succeeding, fear of judgment. But fear, in the quantum leap, is just a sign that you are leaving an old frequency and entering new territory. Don't try to eliminate it by force. Acknowledge that it's part of the process, but don't put it in charge. And here's another exercise. Write on a piece of paper what your perfect financial day would look like. Don't skimp on the details. Include everything from the time you wake up to what you eat for dinner. When you're done, read it out loud every day for 21 days. This ritual creates an emotional bond with the new reality. With each reading, you reinforce the signal in the quantum field. Remember, you don't need to deserve prosperity. You need to align with it. And alignment is a daily practice. The more you internally live the life you desire, the more inevitable the leap becomes. And before we continue to the final part of this video, where I'll give you a 3-step method to trigger a financial quantum leap this very month, I need to ask you something important. Share this video with one person you know is struggling to change their life. Sometimes, this is exactly the kind of message that ignites the spark for a transformation. Now that you understand what the quantum leap is, we've come to the most important moment of this video, turning the concept into daily practice. You don't have to wait months or years to feel the impact. If you apply what I'm about to explain, you can trigger real changes in your financial life this very month. I call this process the triple alignment method, and it consists of 3 clear steps. Step 1. Acknowledge and dismantle the old identity. This is the foundation. Without this, any attempt at change will be sabotaged. Take a piece of paper and write, "I am a person who," and complete it with all the beliefs you carry about money and success. You might write something like, "I am a person who has to work very hard to earn little. I'm a person who doesn't know how to invest. I'm a person who always misses opportunities." This exercise is uncomfortable because it forces you to face the role you have been playing until now. After listing everything, cross out each sentence and replace it with a new one that represents the identity you want to assume. For example, "I am a person who attracts opportunities. I am a person who makes smart financial decisions." This symbolic act is powerful because it signals to your subconscious that the script has changed. Step 2. Create the internal state before the external result. Now that you have a new identity written down, you need to live it internally every day. Set aside 10 minutes in the morning to imagine in detail what a normal day would be like in the life of the person you described in the previous step. Don't think about extraordinary events, like winning the lottery, but rather the common routine of someone prosperous. How does this person wake up? What do they wear? What kind of conversations do they have? How do they react to unexpected events? This repeated visualization creates familiarity and reduces the vibrational gap between the current you and the prosperous you. It's like rehearsing a role until it becomes natural. Step 3. Act in micro leaps. Many people get stuck here because they try to change everything at once. The secret is to act in micro leaps that are possible and sustainable. For example, if you've never invested, open an investment account and deposit a small amount, just to see yourself as an investor. If you always decline invitations for fear of spending, accept one that is within your budget but makes you feel more expansive. These micro leaps send clear signals to the quantum field that you are moving to another line of reality. Physics shows that small changes in the point of observation change the entire outcome. And here's something I need you to understand deeply. The universe responds to clarity and consistency. If today you see yourself as prosperous, but tomorrow you go back to complaining about life, the signal you send is confusing. The quantum leap doesn't happen through sporadic effort, but through constant alignment. And since we are talking about consistency, I need you to be part of the community we are building here. By subscribing to this channel, enabling notifications and interacting in the comments, you not only receive content that will reinforce your alignment, but also send yourself the message that you are committed to this transformation. So, subscribe now, because this isn't just a gesture to help the channel, it's an energetic choice. Perhaps you're thinking, and what if I do all this and nothing happens? That is the trap of the mind that still lives in scarcity. The quantum leap requires you to trust the process before you see results. It's like planting a seed. You don't give up on it just because it didn't sprout the next day. But at the same time, you must understand that the leap doesn't depend on mysterious external factors. It depends on your decision to change the observer. I'll give you one last example to conclude. Mariana worked as an administrative assistant and earned little. She decided to apply the method. In the first month, she just changed the way she dressed for work and started telling herself she was a high-value professional. In the second month, she began studying project management, something she always thought wasn't for her. In the third month, she received an offer to take on a new role with an 80% higher salary. When she told me, she said, "The opportunity was always there, but before I didn't see myself as capable. Now, I have become the person who fit into that position." That is a quantum leap. And to close, I want you to do something right now. Write in the comments, "I changed the observer," and then share this video with someone you know needs to hear this. When you spread this message, you reinforce to yourself that you are already living in abundance, because those who live in abundance want others to prosper too. Remember, the reality you live in today is not a fixed destiny. It is just one of infinite possibilities. The quantum leap is choosing every day to observe the version of yourself that already lives the life you desire. When you sustain that choice, the rest is inevitable.